Hey everybody, this is Brody from Brody's Garage. Today is July 8th. This is episode 2.9. Hey everybody, how's it going out there? Brody here, and I just wanted to give you guys another update on Nova 2.0 right there in the background. Big things happening here in the shop, both with the gear and the car. Let's talk about it. So guys, I wanted so badly to make my twin turbo setup work on this car, and after trying many times different configurations, it just wasn't working out, man. The passenger side exhaust manifold wouldn't fit between the frame rail. I even tried cutting off the flange and repositioning it, and I finally just gave up, and I just decided I'm gonna end up hacking this up so much, and it's gonna be so much more work to completely redo my hot and cold side plumbing that I'm just going to scrap the idea altogether. But you know what? I have maybe a better plan. So after talking a bit with Chuck Jr. from Church Boys Racing, he recommended I take a look at Harrop, and I may be mispronouncing it, Harrop. They're superchargers. Basically, it's an LSA style supercharger made to fit on my LS3. It's a bitchin' 2650 series supercharger, and I'm gonna go with their supercharger and a complete front accessory drive kit from Wegner Automotive. So, that being said, I sold off everything on the front end of this car and the top end of the car. My complete turbo system, gone. Intake manifold and intercooler, gone. Front accessory, Holley mid-mount accessory drive kit, gone. All that stuff is en route to its new home, and I've got a bare engine sitting right there. But the good news is it's going to be well dressed with a Wegner Automotive front drive kit with power steering, air conditioning, everything, and of course topped off by an amazing supercharger. This combination will probably put me easily in the 850 to 900 horsepower range, maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less. Do I really care at this point? No. And if I do want to change it, there's always an overdrive pulley configuration that I can boost it higher. Now, I really never did find out what my old turbo setup made. It was very short-lived. The 1.2 seconds that I got to experience boost, it got out of control and went under a trailer and ripped the roof off. So I never did get to find out how much power it's making, how fast it went in the quarter mile, none of that stuff. I do know that it went from going about 1169 on 5 pounds of boost to whatever boost it was making felt like twice the power. So it was probably capable of going deep into the 9s if I could have got it to hook up. That being said, I'm not stressed out about making 1,000 horsepower. If this thing makes 750 wheel horsepower, that's an incredible amount of power on the street. Now, of course, all that power is no good at all if you can't put it to the pavement. As I talked about before, I'm gonna be swapping out these wheels and tires here for an 11-inch wheel on the back with a slightly bigger 325/35/18 tire with an even more aggressive compound. So I should be able to put the power to the pavement. If not fully out of the gate, I'll ease on it and work my way into it. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I was thumbing through Instagram, and I happened upon a guy's page, and he's got a 66 Nova, and he goes by Snoopy Racing. I believe his name is Keith. And he started talking about this new transmission swap, and I'd never heard of it before, an 8 HP. What is that? So I kind of started reading more about it, and the more he talked about it, the more sold I was on the idea. And it turns out I've been missing out on apparently the new biggest craze in the hot rod community, and that is swapping the Dodge and Mercedes style 8 HP, 8-speed automatic transmission into their different cars. Now, he's the first guy I've seen do it with any car, and especially being a Chevy II Nova, it got my attention. He claims that his already low 10-second naturally aspirated Chevy II picked up 0.3 in the quarter and 3 miles per hour. Now keep in mind, in addition to that incredible performance, you get the added benefit of better drivability. This car stays within its power band more of the time. It shifts smoother. It takes advantage of the lockup converter like no other. And from everything I've read, and that's only a limited amount of knowledge right now, it just seemed like the right thing to do, so I did it. So I just picked this thing up today. This is supposed to be out of a 2020 Dodge Scat Pack Charger, okay? So I think that was behind a 6.4 liter V8, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, I'm not a Dodge guy. And I don't know the first thing about this transmission other than a few things I've read online, but I do have an adapter kit coming, which adapts the torque converter to the flex plate, the bolt pattern to the back of the LS engine. This will require a custom drive shaft with a slip yoke and a hub like this. It'll require a new mount, but I've got the bracket that converts this to a standard horizontal plate, and then I can just fabricate a new mount for this. But if everything I'm reading is true, this is going to be amazing. So because of that, I no longer need my built 4L80E automatic transmission. So this is currently for sale. It's listed on Marketplace. If you're interested, shoot me an email. I'll drop you the link below, and you can send me an email, and we'll talk about this bad boy here, because this thing was built to handle 1,000 horsepower. It's a Jake's Performance Stage 3 4L80E with a lockup 10-inch torque converter. Flashes around, I don't know, 2,800 to 3,000 RPM. And guess what? I also no longer need this carbon fiber drive shaft here. Now, as I mentioned in the last episode, this ended up being a little bit short, and we realized the reason why, because this aluminum center section that came from Church Boys Racing, this is part of their quick performance 9-inch rear end, the snout on this is not as long as the old 9-inch in my previous car from TCI. So that being said, the drive shaft is too short, and as it turns out, I need a completely new custom drive shaft anyway. So guys, carbon fiber and aluminum drive shaft for sale. I will list all the specs below in the video description, but it's got the billet aluminum yokes, it's got the strange straps here, it's got the beefy Sonics front slip yoke here, 1350 U-joints, carbon fiber shaft. I think it's 3.2 diameter, and I forget if it's 56 and an eighth or something like that total length. So this stuff's gonna go. I'll have to fabricate a new trans mount, drive shaft with a slip yoke, and we're gonna get a Dodge 8-speed automatic. Now with that 8-speed automatic, I'm gonna take advantage of the cool paddle shifters that go on the steering wheel, so I can be like, beep, 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 beep. How badass is that? Just me saying that sounds badass. I also ordered an electronic floor shifter, which actually comes stock in a Toyota Supra. So basically, I just got my quote for all of the supercharger and front Wegner accessory drive kit. That order is going in soon, and it's probably gonna take 4 to 6 weeks to get that. So what am I gonna do in the meantime? So this just came in the mail from Swag Off-Road. Now, I had a tubing bender for my last build. It was from JD Squared, and it was a manual. You had to crank the arm to bend it. This, as you can see, has a hydraulic ram cylinder, and the hydraulic ram is actually a Harbor Freight Pittsburgh, you know, so this is like a $150 8-ton ram that bolts there. And then I just literally finished assembling this about 15 minutes ago. Let me tell you, not so easy by yourself. This spring right here, extremely difficult to get on there. There's a carabiner there that goes over this clevis pin, and then you've got to pull that cable in between these pins and hook it around this pin here. Well, let me tell you, it doesn't go in there. You can't get that carabiner open there. So you have to take this bolt and spacer out, and I had to end up fabricating a welding rod into a hook to grab the spring, vice grips, pulled it with one arm, managed to get the bolt and spacer back in with the other hand. Extremely tricky, but I got it. I have not fired this thing up yet, so I don't know how good it works. I also fabricated this mount using some 2-inch square trailer hitch style tubing and a plate mounted to my table. And I think, in theory, because it's a hydraulic ram cylinder, it's pushing against itself, it should kind of stay planted as long as I lock the casters down. So we'll find out about that. But I'm going with 1 5/8". That's the diameter tubing I'll be using. I also got this tubing notcher from Swag Off-Road as well. Really badass, already used it, works great. And no, Swag is not sponsoring this stuff. I paid full price for it. I did ask them for a discount and they said sorry. So basically, if you guys could subscribe to my channel, maybe I'll start getting some stuff for free. I've already done some work underneath the car here. As you know, I got the subframe connectors in from Church Boys Racing. They came with these outrigger bars here. And after talking with Chuck, I said, can you send me 2 more because I want to beef up the back end of this as well. So I got these tack welded in place right now. I'm also going to add some tubing between there and the front one, so it's going to run parallel to the rocker panel right there. So that's going to create this whole little ladder system here to further stiffen up the chassis. I got a piece of tubing, and by the way, I apologize, my shop is an absolute mess right now because I just finished packing and unpacking all this stuff, and I have to head out in the morning to travel for a gig, so the shop will have to be cleaned up when I get back. But I wanted to show you this right here. It's another little piece of tubing that I got from Chuck as well. And that's gonna go up here to tie these two cross members together. So if you notice, we've got the shock cross member here, and we've got the 4-link bar welded there. But there really isn't anything structurally bracing those together. If you notice, you know, they're welded here on the outer ends to the frame rails, but there's nothing really in the middle supporting all of this, and this is where all your torsion is happening. So I spotted this in one of Chuck's videos and I asked him, can you send me a couple of extra pieces? And what I'm gonna do is, once I get my exhaust routing figured out, because as you can see, it's gonna be kind of tight in there with 3-inch exhaust, but I'm gonna take this piece of angled tubing and tie those two cross members together to further stiffen this up. So these are the updates for right now. A lot of stuff going on, man. I'm really excited about the 8 HP, and I figured, hey, if I'm gonna do it, now's the time to do it. I've already got to make a new trans tunnel. I got to get a new drive shaft anyway. Boom, let's do it. So I've got the transmission controller and adapter kit coming for that transmission. As soon as that arrives, I'll pull the engine and trans back out. Hopefully by then I'll have a buyer for that transmission and drive shaft. And we'll start mocking it up and get it fitted in the car. And then basically that transmission controller is completely separate from the engine management, but it talks through the CAN bus to get information and send information for the shifting and RPM and all that stuff through the Holley Terminator X. So again, I don't know squat about this. I'll be learning it all as we go, but you can follow along, and hopefully when this thing is all said and done, between the supercharger and that transmission and this chassis, I think it's gonna be a badass street machine that's gonna be a lot of fun to drive. So hope you guys will follow along. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.